Mari, what is the meaning of life?
For me, I would say it's experiencing the world in a kind and pure way. Learn about different cultures and different ways of life.
You do
Artistic expression in nude form would be the way that I would probably describe it.
doing art,
See,
which is what gives the soul light.
agreed.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of judgment. My family doesn't talk to me.
No. Hola, my name is Jordan Gonzalez. Welcome to this podcast. The following is a conversation with Mari Brooks. Mari Brooks is an amazing and beautiful human being. She works as a model and she travels the world full time. In this conversation, we talk about her art and the freedom to express it. We also talk about relationship, monogamous, polyamorous, and open relationship. We also talk about life and the different philosophies to live by. Welcome to the show and enjoy. Mari,
Hola.
how are you?
Very good.
Good. How much Spanish can you do?
Very, very little.
It would say in percentage? 3%?
6%?
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. I miss out.
Remembering the words is hard.
Yeah, it ain't that simple. But Mari, welcome to the show, Placer
Thank you.
Filosófico.
Gracias.
In this podcast, we explore life through philosophy and through art. I'm very passionate about what humans do with their lives, and what make it interesting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like some decide to settle, live a normal life. We can say normal life, which is not bad. Everyone can do whatever they want. But some others decide to go wild.
Yes. Do something crazy.
Yeah. Because time is short. Life is very short. And I think you do wild. For what I have seen on your Instagram, on your website, it's very inspiring.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's kind of exotic way of living.
Different way, yes. I like it.
Different way. So to begin, let me ask you, what's the passion of your life?
I would say probably my number one passion is travel. Number two is creating art and the freedom to create art.
All right, so let's begin with traveling. All right, I think I got that. I like it too, a lot. And then you say doing art,
See,
which is what gives the soul light.
agreed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the freedom to do it. What do you mean with that?
I think art is very subjective, but there's a mainstream idea of what art should be. And I think doing art in a way that you can express yourself and your feelings and emotions freely without having to stay within the constraints of society is a nice feeling, to just freely be you in your art and not have to follow rules.
Okay. So yeah, that reminds me a quote of someone. I really don't remember the name now, but it's like, rules don't make art work.
No. No, I don't think so.
Right? Okay. So let's say I'm a painter or a poet. I feel really free to do the poetry or to do the painting. What is the art that you strive to be doing more freely? Why you say it's like not so free to do it in you? Like,
I would say specifically for my style of art, I do art with my body, and a lot of times in different societies, bodies are supposed to be held to a specific standard or way of existing in this world. And I think a lot of the art that I do is art to me, but to someone else, they might think it's inappropriate, or that nudity is shameful.
okay, so that get us the information that you do. How can you call the art you do? Like, how is it called? Is it nudity? Is it body expression?
I would say it's artistic expression in nude form would be the way that I would probably describe it.
Beautiful. So it's artistic expression in a nude form. Is that correct?
See,
Okay, so which means take pictures and show the beauty of your body, right? And it's true. Well, this is not appropriate for many audience.
agreed. Yes. But nudity has been a part of art for centuries.
It's true, no?
A very long time.
The
Yes.
Egyptian. All right. So how come Western world is like so, like, oh my God, it's a naked body? How come? What do you think is like that now? I mean, we're supposed to be a society, progressive. We have evolved. We have accept our difference as a human, and we continue evolve together and working together. How come this kind of thing still a taboo at some point in some social circles?
I think some societies have just put the wrong idea on it, as nudity is sexual, when nudity doesn't always have to be sexual. Nudity is natural, and sexuality is something different. And I think a lot of societies have tried to put nudity and sexuality as the same thing, but I think they're completely different things.
Are they?
I think so.
Okay. So if I see it from a human, man point of view, maybe woman point of view, if I see a naked girl, I get feelings, not only mental, but also physically, you know. I don't know if this is the same for everybody. I guess so.
I think there is definitely that is going to happen because men and women find each other attractive, and that's going to be just something that happens. But I think if it was regular in society, if people just normally walked around nude, I don't think that would still be there because you'd be so used to it. It would just be a part of everyday life.
Hey, yeah, I get what you say. But this requires a change of mentality, even maybe a change of consciousness, or even a change of, a total reprogrammation of the brain.
Yeah, agreed. Our brains have been programmed for so long to think a certain way. It would have to make a lot of changes in practice to put that into...
Yeah. Which is very hard to attain. I haven't put my thoughts in order regarding this, but I have seen videos, I've seen documentaries of societies in Africa mainly, where women walk around naked.
Yeah.
It's totally normal. And men too, everybody is doing that. And I don't see everyone having sex on the street or being as sexual depraved.
Yep.
There, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it makes sense what you say. It makes sense. How do you think we can move toward this reality, toward this normality?
I think it would have to start with parenting. I think parents would have to educate their children on the human body more, make it less of a thing to be ashamed of. Society in general would just have to make the body less of a thing to be ashamed of. And respect would have to be taught, and that bodies are normal things. Everyone has everything.
Yeah.
It's not something crazy.
It's true.
But I think we also need clothing as well. If it's too cold, we definitely don't want to be walking around with no clothes when it's cold out. Or if it's too hot, you might want to cover yourself from the sun. Yeah. I think clothes are functional as well. Or for fashion, like my clothing is part of art as well. I think the way you dress can also be artistic as well.
Well, yeah, we are not. Yeah. Maybe we are not trying to get to a future or reality where everybody works naked, because we take the fashion industry out, no? But at least to not make it judgmental, no?
Agreed. Yeah, make it more normal and acceptable, and I think if with that would also come less body shaming and less people with things like anorexia and bulimia, because you would see normal people's bodies and not everyone would be able to know what regular bodies looked like, not just the edited versions of people. And
edited versions of people? How you put it? The edited version of people. It makes sense. it's like we get to be shaped
Mm-hmm.
by some standards, no?
Yes.
And what's your advice to be you? Because this is a thing I strive. I think one of the most beautiful things in life is to be yourself, no? And at least to have an idea of who you are. What's your advice for that?
I think it takes a lot of work, a lot of inner work on yourself as well. I used to be a very, very shy person, very insecure person. And the art community definitely helped me with that, come out of my comfort zone and be more comfortable with myself, and just letting go of that idea of what will that person think? What will they think? What will they think? Now I don't care. I don't care what people think. I
You
just do
don't?
what I want and how I feel. And as long as it's kind and loving and respectful to people around me, then I can just exist as myself. And it's a very nice feeling.
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, there's still days where you don't feel as good about yourself. You might worry a little bit about what people think. There's always going to come creeping back in the back of your head.
Yeah, it's not 100% always like heaven heaven on
No,
earth.
I think people in general just, it's part of human nature to think about what other people might think. I think it's just you want other people to like you, so you worry about what they might think of you. I think it's just part of humans wanting connection. They want friends and they want connection and they want relationships. So it's, I think, always going to be a concern. You just have to make that not an insecurity that you keep yourself from doing things you want because of.
Yeah, it's what normally happen. Huh? It's very enlightening.
See.
Your thoughts your thoughts of that. You are a digital nomad, no?
Yes, I am.
And
fully nomadic. I have
I-
no home.
I ask you like, where's your base? You said my suitcase.
Yes.
How come? That's crazy. That's brave, though. That's brave. I mean, because, well, yeah, you tell us about before I gave you my thoughts, but yeah, you live in everywhere, no?
Yes.
Whatever. How where do you take the courage to begin this lifestyle?
Um, I guess I would say it kind of started with a breakup 6
Okay.
years ago.
This is funny. This is funny. Like, because a lot of things start on a breakup.
Yes.
You're crazy. I have other people in the podcast saying the same. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and then I left to Greece to kind of do my own thing and find myself again, reinvent myself, and pursue my passion for travel. And I got into scuba diving to teach scuba diving. And then from there, I got into full-time modeling. And I was doing modeling before that. But then after I did scuba diving for a little bit, I went back to modeling because it allowed me to express myself in a way that I wanted to and allowed me to travel more freely.
Okay, okay. And before you were married, or you
In a long-term relationship.
okay. And in that time, how do you feel about being you and doing this art you make, nudie photography? How was it? Was it good with your partner, or
He liked it. He was actually a big part of supporting me in it. He supported me in moving into it full time. He also started taking photos of models to be able to take photos for me so that we could build up a portfolio. He built my original website, taught me how to build websites.
so you got the full support?
I had full support, yes.
So there was not there where you felt like your expression wasn't the best. It's not because of a relationship you couldn't express your art.
No, it's just the strength to go full time into it, just jump both feet in, came from leaving the relationship because I had no one to worry about back at home, no one to have to go home to, no home to go to. So
What about the love and how?
there was lots of complications with that relationship that
All right.
it had to end, and I think our time together was over. I don't think everything is meant to last forever.
No?
No, I think some things are just meant to be in your life for a season.
Do you think it's true what they say, like nothing lasts forever, and that's what life is? That's
Yeah,
what gives.
100% agree with that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's heartbreaking.
I guess you could
can
see it as
be.
heartbreaking, but I
Yeah.
think there's more loves for people, not just one. I don't think you have one love in the world. I think you can have, there's multiple loves for everyone, and just being in the right place at the right time is what makes it so hard to find those other loves.
I agree on that. I agree on that. There is everyone has the soulmate or whatever, no? Soulmate. What you think you live on soulmate?
I think I used to believe in soulmates. I don't think I believe in soulmates anymore.
How? Okay, but that has a very explanation, as you always have said. What do you believe on now?
Now I believe it's just about two people finding each other at the right time in their lives and both pursuing goals that can move forward together. And then they don't necessarily have to be exact same goal, but similar goals that you can move forward in life together as partners in a partnership. I don't think having that soul mate is floating around out there. I think you can create a soulmate connection with someone by just supporting them and existing with them and moving forward in your future together in a healthy way.
Because yeah. So if you think it's the pass of the years that make you feel like this, the experiences, or the experience in a relationship, or the pass of the year.
I think probably experience in relationships, probably also the passing of years, and now being on my own and observing other relationships or meeting people along the way that I have maybe loved for a short amount of time and been able to carry on, and we each go our own ways and still care about each other, I think is what makes me believe that you can create a soul connection with someone without them being your soulmate.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And then we come to a point that nothing lasts forever, no? To the same point.
I think that probably helped me accept that.
You had
when
to
I've
accept.
accepted that nothing lasts forever, then I felt more free to just exist in life, and if love comes and goes, then enjoy it while it's there.
It makes sense, but it's painful to think that it don't last forever. Yeah, crazy, you know. So your suitcase.
Yes.
How's that?
I have one big rolling duffel bag suitcase, and that is what I travel around the world with. I have some storage back in Victoria, British Columbia, and then at the house that I'm staying right now, I have maybe like 10 outfits in her closet waiting for me to make another round.
10 outfits. So you learn to also live with basics.
Yes. Yeah. If it doesn't fit in my suitcase, then it has to stay behind.
Okay. So where is the place you spend the most of the time? Like, is there or you don't have like a routine on the year?
I guess I have a rough routine. I spend usually June till October in Canada and the US, circling the Canada and US, and then in the wintertime, I'm either here South America or
wherever is hot.
Wherever is hot. I don't do cold.
You don't do cold?
No.
But you built a perfect lifestyle for that. I understand the cold things stuff. And you're not attached to like having a house and standing there like most of us, you know what I mean? Just the feeling of uncertainty, it makes some people freeze, including me sometimes, you know. How do you manage that?
I think it just took practice. Before I started being nomadic, I was extremely meticulous about trips and planning, and everything had to be planned out and everything had to be organized, and I had to know exactly where I was going to be at certain times, and traveling never really goes as planned.
No.
So I think the more I did it, the more I just had to let go of that, and it'll be what it'll be, and we'll see what happens. And that made it easier to not have to have a base, because I gave up the thought that things had to work out and things were going to be a certain way. You just kind of go with the flow.
Wow. You know, in philosophy, there is many philosophical thoughts, philosophical path. There is many, no? There is one thought by this guy. I don't know if you heard of. His name is Diogenes. It was called Diogenes the dog. It's a philosopher a Greek philosopher, and he was known for his frugality. Like he preached and he lived a life free of possessions and free of need to have a possessions. Cynicism is called. And I mean, I cannot go to the extremes, to live in the street and do these kind of things he did. But it has some point when you start like let go of the need of buying things or of having to fit on some circle of society. This is something big to let go behind, and I think you have done that. You let that go.
I think so, for the most part.
Was it a journey? Was it something you had there? Was it like that always, or how was it?
I think it was a journey. I don't think I ever really held too strongly on to possessions at any point really in my life. As a kid, my mom used to move us around a lot. We used to move once or twice a year. We'd move. So I was, I think, since a small child, very used to life changing and moving along, and possessions were never really that important to me. I think I prefer human interaction and experiences over possessions. So I think that helped with letting go of that, because I never had that strong need for things.
But you are not a hippie.
I may not
like
be
maybe a soul.
Super hippie, but I would say I have probably a hippie soul.
Yeah. Wherever I have traveled, I have mostly European countries or Canada. I've seen that people are attached to things. Me myself, I am still very attached to things. Trying to. Before maybe I like it to be attached to things because I like to get things, But then after you realize that you can live with the basics. I mean, live good with the basics, and not trying to buy things you don't need. But about building community, like when you're in a place, you build community, and when you move all the time, you forget people you meet, and you never have like really close people you can hang out all the time. And if you go somewhere 2-3 years, then you forget the people. What do you think of that?
I don't think that I would say I forget the people. I think they always hold a special place in my heart. I think I've learned to go into friendships and communities a lot quicker with less. I feel when you meet someone, you kind of hold back a little bit and try to get to know them slowly and see if you guys will be friends. Or I think I've just started to jump right into friendships and be more open more quickly, because I don't have a lot of time to make that connection with people. So I get rid of all the reservations and just try to be authentic right from the start. And then if we create a friendship, then it has a stronger connection by the time that I leave. And most of the time I stay in contact with the people that I meet.
So you apply the philosophy of living the moment fully,
Yes, I would say yes.
This is what happened. This is what happened. So before we close on this subject, okay, you said you live on your suitcase.
Yes.
It's a big deal. And we were talking about this philosopher who teach to live with the minimum. I think it's a noble pursuit, to be minimalistic, even for the environment, for your soul.
Yeah.
I was always thinking that what I have seen is like girls, they always get 2-3 suitcase, for a 1 week trip.
Uh-huh.
My ex or everyone I have date do the same. It's full,
need
full.
Many choices for outfits and shoes.
And what about you?
I have a pair of sandals and a pair of heels that I pack for shoes, and one pair running shoe. So I have 3 shoes, and then I would say maybe 10 dresses, 4 shorts, 3 pairs of pants, and then 5 t-shirts, and 3 long sleeve shirts, and then maybe 10 tank tops.
Oh my god, that's good, man. I mean, impressive, to be a.
But I do have my storage in Victoria. I'm my best friend. She lives in Victoria, and she's actually been extremely supportive of my lifestyle. And whenever I go back, I stay with her and her family, and I keep some stuff at their place, so I can take my suitcase and change out. I have other clothes there, so I can take out stuff I've been traveling with for 4 months and put my other stuff in, and then switch it out.
And renew
the suitcase.
So it's not like you have 10 dresses and that's all.
No, I have some in storage. I have to go back to Canada to switch them though.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. But mostly for what you do, like, you don't need clothes to take pictures, no? It's like
that's the nice thing about this type of modeling I do. I don't need to have lots of fashion clothes. And if I do fashion shoots, if the photographer wants something specific, they usually provide it. So they'll bring the clothing to the shoot, so I don't have to carry it around in my suitcase.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is what you do. You get the photographers, you book them, and they pay you for that.
Yes.
And they can be creative with the setup, no?
Yeah. So we discuss the theme of the shoot, whether they want to shoot bikinis, or if they want to do artistic nude, or if they want to do fashion, or whatever style they decide that they want to do that's within my comfort zone. We talk about that, and then I have photos of the clothing that I have, so I will ask what they want and then send them ideas, like, I have this or this or this, what would you like? And they tell me I want 1, 4, and 6, and then I bring those.
Wow. Is there a line between professionality and weirdos? Like, because you have it.
I would say there is a line, but it's not always that visible. So I do a lot of vetting for photographers. I will reference check them. So I look them up and look at their portfolio and their website and see the models that they worked with. And then I'll reach out to the models that they've worked with and ask them, is this a safe person to work with? How was your experience with them? Did you enjoy working with them? And I reference check people that I work with.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a safe.
It is a safety thing, yes.
Safety thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's also helpful to find out how to work with that person, because everyone has a different style of the way they like to do things. And if I can get an idea of who that person is and what kind of style they like, then I feel I can have a better working relationship with them, because I know what they're looking for. So when I go into the shoot, we can create things more efficiently because we're kind of understanding how each other are a little bit easier.
Okay, you have an idea of how to behave.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
How to maximize the experience. Well, that's nice. And how is the industry? How is the because what I have seen on Instagram is like everyone does Not nude photos, but everyone is naked on Instagram. It's like, what's going on? What's crazy, you know?
I think OnlyFans has made that more popular, and Instagram has become a way to advertise because so many people use Instagram. Instagram is very strict though, so I've been deleted 3 times from Instagram.
Oh.
I'm on.
From how many followers?
The highest I was at was 11K, and was deleted from that. And then I made it up again to 10K and was deleted at 10K.
So you've seen that's where you get. That's where they say there's no.
Yeah, they're like, no, you can't have any more. You bye.
Ah, shit. Wow.
So I just am more careful with posting now. I draw on ridiculous little fake bikinis. So
which make it destroy the art.
It does. I think so too. But if they want to see it, then they can go to my website, or they can go to. There's other places that I can post that they can see it uncensored. But for Instagram, I have to censor or else I get deleted.
Yeah. And OnlyFans is something you will do, or you do?
I don't do OnlyFans. I used to have an OnlyFans, but I didn't like the platform. I'm now with a different platform called Tempted, and I prefer that platform. So I use this platform instead. I feel like it is more artistic, less on the porn side, more a little bit more artistic, and I feel like the audience that it captures is a lot more respectful to my art. I had a lot of disrespectful people on my OnlyFans, and I didn't appreciate that. So
like what?
Just saying very rude things, very inappropriate things that I really didn't want to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think this other platform is a lot better, and people are more respectful on it.
Oh, and but do you do explicit content or?
I wouldn't say I do explicit content. No, I don't feel comfortable creating that kind of content just because of the weird reactions that it attracts. But I have a lot of friends that create explicit content, and they do very well with it. I think they're just a little more thick-skinned than I am.
Thick-skinned, you mean like brave or?
Not brave, but they can those kinds of comments and don't affect them as much as me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah, it gets to be a lot, and I would prefer to deal with more art community than that kind of community. But they do very well, and they do beautiful work too, and I'm glad that they're comfortable doing that.
Yeah, because it's profitable, it's money, I hear.
Yeah, and I think it's something that people look for, and that people consume. People need. So I'm not willing to provide that kind of content, but I think it's an important thing to provide because I think a lot of people need something like that. Especially if maybe you haven't found a partner yet and you want to see a beautiful woman in that way, then that's a good way to see it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I've seen the success of the platform OnlyFans. I see the industry grow and suddenly everyone is in OnlyFans and doing good. I mean, not everyone does good, but most of the time, like have you expressed yourself? It's like, wow.
Yeah. I think it's a basic human need, and if that industry is gonna, I think the industry is gonna flourish forever.
Even more, you think?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When you say human need, you mean that the human need to have someone special to masturbate on it? Or
I would say, yeah, any kind of sexual expression, I would say, is necessary for humans. I feel like it is a basic need. So for having someone that maybe doesn't have a partner or needs that visual stimulation to help themselves, why not?
Interesting. It does make sense, and it goes with reality. I mean, it's happening. It's happening now. Mari, what is the meaning of life for you?
I don't know what the meaning of life is. But for me, I would say it's just experiencing the world in a kind and pure way, going into the world and trying to learn about it and learn about the people and learn about different cultures and different ways of life and respecting the planet and the animals and everything in it so that we can all try to be happy and live a nice, loving life.
So it's like living according to nature,
Yeah.
kind of, to put it in small words.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Cool, nice. Because we also always look to the meaning of life, you know? What is the meaning of all this existence? For what I'm here? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And when this guy who is a neurologist is Victor Frank is called, I think. He said when someone doesn't have a clear meaning of life, they distract themselves with pleasures, you know. And this makes sense because when you're young, you really don't know where you're going. I mean, sometimes you do, which is really good, but in my case, I didn't know. So it's like parties and frugality and hedonism, you know. It is like very damaging to the body, to the health, to the mental health. So, no? So the meaning of life for me is something always try to find a clear picture of what it is. So that's why I ask you this, like what's the point? And I think the point at some point, I mean, it should be or it is like spread the most love you can, no?
Agreed. Yes, in agreement with you on that.
Yeah, no, because whatever do I mean we do this podcast, you know, this is like some things I am careful of every time, even though spreading hate and division makes more noise, you know, and more
Captures more attention.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But what's for what? I mean, if it's not doing a positive impact, for what? What's the point?
Yes.
What do you think? Like, is it good? Is it bad?
I think if everyone tried to make a positive impact in life and the world around them, I think the world would be a much nicer place. But I don't know why people like to focus on drama and pain and ridiculous things.
Is it a human nature? I think it's a human nature. It's like that's that's what we are. You know, sometimes I think and I see humans like shit. Maybe that's what we are. There is no.
I think maybe you can come to a point like that. Maybe if you just see the world that way and maybe you've been hurt too much. So you're skeptical about the good in the world. Because there's a lot of bad people out there and there's a lot of people that will hurt you out there. So maybe they're just expressing their pain and attracted to pain because they're hurting.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's what the book says. Also, that's what there is. Are you a religious person?
No, I would say no.
Do you believe in God?
I grew up a Christian. My mom is very religious, but I decided that it wasn't suiting to me, and I didn't believe everything that it was about. So I just believe in being a good person and treating the people around me with love.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How old were you when you realized this? When you decide to not follow your family traditions?
I would say I had a lot of questions at 14 years old. At 16 years old, I decided I didn't think that it was for me. And at 18 years old, I told my mom that it wasn't for me anymore. And then I slowly started changing my lifestyle to become myself.
Calm yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So we can say that you are not the kind of person who fits in the society.
No. I think a lot of people think I'm weird or strange or different.
In which way?
I think my lifestyle is difficult for people to understand. Like, what do you mean you have no home? You just live nowhere? Like, yeah, I live nowhere. I think it's people like stability and they like routine and they like comforts. Yes. And I have my best friend is my stability. So she's my stability. And then I flutter around the world and come back to her.
So you are lucky.
Yes.
So
I'm very lucky to have her. She's allowed me to be comfortable being nomadic because I know that she's always got my back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, she's a good friend.
Wow. What do you think about humans? Like, are we a monogamous or are we polygams?
I think that's a pretty loaded question because I think it depends on the person and the relationship. I think.
Do you think it depends on the person? Like talking generally.
Yes.
I was also thinking that it depends on the person, you know. But as a human nature, I'm came to think as a human nature and where we going as a humanity. If you see the rates of divorces, you go to United States, Canada, Europe, you know, even Sweden is the highest one. You see more than 50 marriage, they get divorced, you know, and they co-parent and they do it good. It grows good. I mean, obviously the kids got hurt and it can cause problems, you know, but it wasn't like that before, but now it's like this. So the future, it may look like there will not be monogamous relationship, you know what I mean? And if we live according to nature and we relate us to animals and see animals don't care of those things, you know, and humans find a way to live good, even not being monogamous. Do you think really we are not monogamous? Like, does it make sense? If you try to see the future and you see yourself and say, wow, what's going on? You know, why we have the need to be with someone else? Maybe not in the first 3 years of marriage, but after, you know, after 10 years, 20 years, when there's routinary and kids and everything. How do you see these things? What's your thoughts on that?
I think I think it goes back to everything is not meant to last forever. I think some relationships you grow separate, and it's healthy if your relationship isn't growing together in the same direction. It could be healthy to separate and then have your own lives, but still have respect for your partner because you did love them at one point. So I think if you loved someone, I don't think that's something that just goes away. So, but if you aren't working, then I think it's healthy to separate and then move on to finding another partner that may be at that point in your life, because people change. I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago, and I was not the same person I was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So if your partner isn't changing in the same direction as you, that relationship won't be the same as it was when you originally started your partnership together.
It's complicated.
Humans are very complicated. Yes. And I've been in monogamous relationships, I've been in poly relationships, I've been in open relationships.
Where were you the most happy? Or where did you felt that you was you the most?
You know, all of them. I just feel like it was the different relationships that the person that you're with. Maybe my relationship with partner X was good as a monogamous relationship, but my relationship with partner Y was good as a poly relationship, and my relationship with partner Z was maybe good as an open relationship. So
you're telling me that you are not a person who is set up in a box and say, I am a monogamous, I am only do poly, or I only like open relationship for the pack of freedom. I mean, you do explore the differences.
Yeah, because I think different relationships work for different people. So if my partner and I have certain needs that an open relationship would be best suited for us, then that's the relationship that we would talk about, and that's the one that we would probably stay in. But if my partner and I found that monogamy was best for us, then we would stay in that. And always in a relationship, I think things can be reconsidered and talked about again. So if that, I've had monogamous relationships turn into open relationships, and then go back to monogamous, and then turn into open.
Really? So you going
yeah, I think it's all about communicating with your partner and finding out what their needs are. And if you love someone, you want them to be happy, and the other way around. So I think if you're in a loving relationship, you're going to want the other person to be happy. So you'll find the right kind of relationship suited for the needs of the partners.
Always communication first, no?
Yes. Communication, I think, is number one. Very, very important.
Wow. Have you ever lost yourself in a relationship?
Yes,
Like you
I
give
have.
all of you and then
Yes,
yeah?
definitely.
Were you young or were you
I was younger, yes. I think I had left religion. I had a couple years of, I guess, rebellious stage of going a little bit crazy because I wasn't in religion anymore. And then trying out relationships when I hadn't really found out who I was yet.
Okay.
And when you don't know who you are, it's difficult to be yourself in a relationship. I think you kind of
You become what
mirror
the
the
other
partner.
person
yeah,
demands.
what they want or need or reflects on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this happened to you. Was it painful?
Yeah, it was very painful. But it was a lesson, and I learned a lesson.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I see you have a free spirit, a very open-minded person, who follows you heart. You follow your heart, and you go against the. I mean, you have the courage to go against, to challenge the social normals, and you have the freedom to. I think it's we live in a time where it's okay. What do you think if you've been who you are, a nudist model, a very open mind for open relationship, polyamorous? Would we live in like on the medieval times, like like let's say 500 years ago, where
I don't think I would flourish very well in the medieval times.
No?
No.
They will burn you as a witch,
Probably.
Isn't it crazy how times have changed?
Yes, I feel very lucky to be able to be and express myself the way I do. There's still a lot of judgment. My family doesn't talk to me.
No.
My sister does, but the rest of my family is very judgmental on my career. So
What is the thing they judge the most?
the nudity. They're religious, so the nudity is very offensive to them. But yeah, I think it's a society now that's more accepting of allowing people to be themselves and express themselves. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, I think you should be and respectful of other people. You should be able to, in this society now, be able to express yourself how you like.
Expressing yourself, it gets you confidence. It makes you happy.
Yeah.
You live a happier life.
And I think it helps you find who you really are, because you have the freedom to express in a way that is fully authentic to yourself. You don't have to like, oh, you can't do this and this and this and this. You have to be this person, so you have to pretend you're this person, but you have all these other wants and needs and desires that you have to hide from everyone.
What kind of person you become when you're full of pretensions? What's happening inside, when you are just pretending to be someone?
I think it's a show. Then you're not yourself. You're just you're an actor in your own life.
Oh. Wow. So we have to be careful of not finding ourselves in that situation, no? It's very important. It's very important to imagine the people, the women who lived in those times, obscurantism, where everything was a sin. How sad life, no? How much pain they go through.
Probably a lot. Everyone probably felt a lot of pain not being able to exist authentically.
Wow. Oh, we are very lucky. We're very lucky to be in these times. Have you ever had long distance relationships?
Yes. I would say probably 90% of my relationships have been long distance.
How? How you make it work?
Lots of communication, lots of texting. Now that video call, FaceTime has helped so much in those situations.
Oh my god. Okay, I have had this. It's very painful.
It's hard. Yeah.
But does it work? Does it not work? Like,
I think
or there is a time frame. It will work this time, and then you realize, okay, 3 months is okay, and then after that, it fades away.
I think if both parties want to put in the effort, because it takes more effort, I think if both parties want to put in the effort to make it work, it can work. But if one party decides that they don't want to put in effort anymore, then it's not going to work. Both people have to be willing to put in effort to make a long distance relationship work, because it's hard. You miss the person a lot when you're away from them.
Okay, this is one thing. Like, I think is the most emotional part. It's like, let's say you're somewhere beautiful and you're watching the sunset and having a party or whatever. You love someone, but you're not with that someone.
Yeah.
It's painful, right?
Yeah.
And now come the sexual needs, the need for intimacy with that person.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen in a certain period of time takes everything out. You see, what's time? Time makes you forget a lot of things,
It can, but that's what FaceTime is for.
Okay. All right. So.
But you can also meet up in the future, or in different places you can come together, and it makes that coming together even more intense. So you might miss someone a lot, but then when you see them again, it's like the best day ever.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. What about family? Do you want to have family? Do you have?
I don't want to have family. I would like to have a partner, but I am not interested in children. I spent a lot of time as a kid raising my sisters.
Okay,
so
you already
I
lived
feel like I already did that.
You already did your job.
Yes. And I have friends and sisters that have kids, so I can be the aunt that comes around and takes them for ice cream and gives them back.
Wow. Oh, yeah. But is it you don't want to have it because you need to have a belly and then we'll...
No, I don't think I think I feel like I've been there, done that, and...
In your past life, maybe.
Maybe. I also don't... I feel like people that really want to have children should have children. We're already quite overpopulated in this world, so if I don't want them, I don't feel like I should be bringing more children into this world.
It's not like fulfilling a duty.
No, and I think my lifestyle is I live a very free, unstable life. So bringing a child into that instability might be difficult. And I think raising kids is already hard, so you need to have stability to raise children.
Yeah, it's true.
And I don't want stability, so I don't think that fits.
You don't want stability. What happens when you are somewhere, you have a house, you rent a house, you get a work somewhere at 3 months? What happened to you? What do you think will happen to you? You get crazy.
I do. I've taken on jobs for 3 months at a time before, and I think at this point, 3 months is the most I can do. After 3 months, I'm like, okay, time to go. I can't be here anymore. I gotta do something different.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel the same,
Mm-hmm.
But I refuse to listen to. It's like, this is not how I supposed to be, or what, this is not maybe the best thing to do. But I get bored of the same place,
I do too. But it is nice to have the friend I'm with right now. It's really nice. I'll be here for 3 weeks. So it's been great being in one spot for 3 weeks. I can hang my clothes in a closet. I can wash my clothes in a normal washing machine. They don't have to wash in the sink and hang them to dry.
What do you do that? Like in a truck, or have you lived in a truck?
I've lived in a camper van before.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And that was a fun life. I enjoyed that. I think that's a lifestyle that you have a home, but you can take your home with you. So that's a little easier to get used to. But having a home full time, I don't, at this point financially too, it doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm renting a house and I'm gone for 3 weeks every month, then I'm paying for a house rental and then also hotels or Airbnbs or staying in hostels. So I'm paying 2 rents at the same time. So it doesn't make sense for me.
Do you feel outside the matrix? Or you don't see the matrix as a matrix?
I don't know if I would say it. I see it as a matrix. I would maybe just see it as different people's comfort levels of the way they like to live. Like some people like to have a home and work 9 to 5, come home at the end of the day, kiss their wife and kids, have dinner as a family, watch some TV, then go to bed and do the same thing. And then on the weekend, go to church, and Saturdays maybe go to the park with the kids. And people love that lifestyle. For me, I don't like that lifestyle. I need different things, different stimulations. But for people that are comfortable with that, I think they should enjoy that.
Would you like to like that?
Not really. No.
There is nothing you will change about you, like the fact that you decide to be who you are.
At this time, I think life is pretty good. I don't think there's anything I would really change. I think more work would be helpful. Yes, because work has been very slow the last couple of years, especially since COVID. Work has been very, very slow.
Yeah, it happened to every industry.
Yeah.
It's crazy, no? It's crazy. Okay, so do you believe in past lives? Are you like spirituality, or what do you think of those things?
I'm not exactly sure what I think about that. I think it's a possibility. I think I've been and experienced situations where I felt that before, but I can't say I confirm or deny it.
So you felt sometimes you felt that you have lived this before?
Yeah.
Okay. And spiritual? Are you a spiritual person?
I wouldn't say that I'm completely atheist. I wouldn't be completely against any kind of spirituality. Is there gods or angels or other things out there? I'm not sure. I think I'm still trying to figure out that.
Navigating the ocean of life. No? Wow. Well, Mari, it was a very nice pleasure talking to you.
You as well.
I like it. Stay like you have a hippie soul, but not a hippie body. No, because you have a hippie soul. It's like you do the lifestyle, are free of everything and these kind of things. But when you all go to the hippie body, it's like you do your rasta and you don't shower. No, this is not like that.
And I like my eyelashes and I like my makeup.
This is what I see. You like to take care of your you have your nails too and all.
I don't right now. They were done, but they're taking a break right now. But I like those little things. So I don't think that would fit in with the hippie soul thing. So my soul is hippie, but I like some extra things.
A rich hippie.
Well, not rich at all. No.
Okay. So give us some advice to go after what you want in life, after your dreams, to have the courage and the courage to follow your dreams and the courage to be yourself. I want you to leave us with that, because I think you have done it yourself. You're still doing it yourself. Regarding all the things happening in life, you find the place to get out from Christianity. Well, religious. We don't say Christianity. Religious, which is brave. And yeah, give us some tips, something that can inspire.
I think courage is the main word that you use. You take the courage and believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it, and you just have to jump in with both feet and go for it. And if it's scary, then it's probably worth doing. And
if it's scary, it's worth doing.
If you stay in your comfort zone, you're not going to grow as much. If you jump out of your comfort zone, you'll find a lot more things about yourself, and you'll live a life that at the end of your life, you're not going to wish you did all these things.
Yeah. So we get to 70 and say, shit,
Yeah.
I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Are you scared of saying that when you get to 70?
I was scared. Now I think no. I think I have done enough things in life that I won't regret not doing things. But there's still more things I want to do. So we'll see.
The road's
Yeah.
still long. The road's still long. Okay, Mari, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time and the willingness to participate in this podcast. We're gonna leave your information on the description of the episode. Thank you everyone for being here. This has been Mari, hippie soul, fancy body, professional nudistic artist, free soul, free spirit, an amazing human being.
Gracias.
Thank you. Love it.